Well, hello everyone, and welcome to another Darachat. My name is Daramouthe, or Dara for short, because sometimes the last part of it can't be said. Anyway, missing the point. Welcome, welcome to with my guest SynthTrax. I almost want to say SynthTrax, but that'd be a totally different altogether.
Yeah, dude. I've heard that many times. Actually, it's a little hard to say. You could just call me Synth, brother.
He's so synthetic. He wants to be called a synth. That's a Fallout joke. But no, well, thank you for coming on. And you look so well dressed. It's almost like you've come to preach to us your musical word.
That's right. I'm gonna preach to you about some beats today, son.
I want to bring in the low beat and the high.
I'm gonna hit you with them waves.
I'm gonna make you feel electrified.
That's right. That's right. You're gonna be sweaty after this. You're gonna be thinking to yourself, "What have I done to myself?" Afterwards.
I think I need a conversions going on here. I don't know what's going on.
Hold on a second here, though. Hold on a second. So
but
I know that you like to wear the aviators, right?
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm in your house, so
Oh, you don't have to wear aviators. That's
yeah.
fine.
Let me
Ooh.
my chin
Ooh.
too, buddy.
Ooh, yeah, there we go. That's some futuristic stuff right there. That makes you look hip. The 80s is calling. They said, "Give me back my glasses." Hey, Steve. Jordy, they need you in engineering. Jordy.
That's right. 88 miles per hour. We're going back in time tonight, baby.
I Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's hilarious. But no, those are pretty cool. I like the there's those sunglasses that have like the shade things on them. Like they look like the old like they have that grid. I don't know what they
Oh,
call them.
hold on
I
a second here.
I don't know what kind of
You like
sunglasses these are.
this?
Ah, there you go. That's the one. I'm just like, what in the world? Those
I'm
are
ready.
like that's like 80s right there. You go back old school with that one.
That's right. Maybe I'll just wear these then.
I don't think you'll be able to see anything though. You'll be like,
Where am I?
where is he? Where is he?
Hold on.
you you just halfway through the show it's like
I'm just
keep
talking
it.
the wrong direction. I go, hey, what's going on? Daramouthe, hey.
you just you go to a party, you wear those like you're speaking to the other direction. Like, yeah, I see over here. It's like, I'm right over here. What the hell's wrong with him?
Bumping into people.
Oh my goodness! But you know what? It is a nicety that you came on. I know it's a kind of a difficult for me. It's kind of a difficulty because you never know if someone's gonna say yes or no. Because it's like, what is your show about? What do you do? No, I have to say, what is your show about? What do you do? All that stuff. It's just more like a what is it? That guy from Family Guy, uh, Goldsmith, the guy who runs the pharmacy. I can't
I
remember
don't
his
know.
name.
I watched Family Guy for a while, and then after that South Park episode came out, I stopped watching it.
South Park drove you to the edge. I understand.
It opened
Contribes to
my eyes. I was like, oh, I can see now. Oh.
it's a bright light. But no, there's that, and yeah, it's just one of those things. You need to go out there, and I've had people where I've asked and got no reply back. But then again, Twitter X DMs is not like the best place. Like they don't get good enough notification, as far as I know. And then I do ask, and they're like, "Well, let me check your stuff out first, and I'll get back to you." And you never hear anything. And then what else? Usually, and of course, getting a response back like with you, or and you get some people that are like, no, you know what, I'm not much of a camera person, or whatever, or I'm shy, extremely shy. I'm like, look, I've had people on before who don't even show their face, or they've
Right.
had a bit of anxiety coming on. I'm like, your worry is on me. I gotta run the show. You just sit there and like, I don't know what this dude's talking about, but I'm gonna have to smoke something to be on that part right there. And it just, jeez.
Right. You're on patrol. You're the highway patrolman that controls this with the aviators and everything, man.
That's right.
I'm
Well,
not
I'm not.
I feel very comfortable with you right now.
I just cradle them like a small baby bird. Like, what was that? Yes. All right, let's feed you. You come on the show and didn't think you'd be compared to a baby bird. That'd be that'd be the interesting part.
I'm a really old ass baby bird. That's for damn.
You're like the pig, like Big Bird, except less feathers. Okay, kids, it's time to learn your ABCs and what to and all that stuff. Oh my goodness. That'd be the worst Sesame Street ever. That'd be like Sesame Street After Dark.
Is there even Sesame Street anymore? That was around when I was a kid, but like I don't
Yeah.
even know if it exists anymore.
Well, it sort of exists, but it's in this limbo space of we don't know anymore. I think I think I think after the Kevin Clasher deal, Sesame Street kind of like hit a spot, and of course you have understudies, right, for the Muppeteers, right? You know, Jim Henson had Steve Whitmer, and so many others have understudies. But you know, for Elmo, right? Elmo was the biggest seller for Sesame Street. Once Kevin Clash took over that character, done. Like that was their moneymaker. You remember the '90s, like Tickle Me Elmo and all that stuff.
I was shocked by it at the time because like counterculture, man. So like whenever things like that came up, I'd always just be like, "What the hell is this crap?" Like, oh, by the way, I hear you saying I didn't. To me, it sounded not like Sesame Street. It sounded like Sesame Street. Is that what you said?
To some, yes. Abe says the clown that keeps quoting me is insane. It's not even me. Yes, Abe, we get it's you. You won't let the Jesus meme die. Come on, man. I mean, sorry, the Jesus meme. You gotta let the Jesus meme die. That's mostly with Jesus with a wrench, you know, fixing cars. No, but yes, it did become that, and Sesame Street has been in this escapade of not being about teaching kids about numbers and letters and trying, like, you know, pre-K kindergarten stuff, right? Because they teach all that. But now it's sort of just like we got to go with what appeals to everyone. It's like counting numbers and, you know, saying letters doesn't appeal to everyone. I don't know what the thing is here. I don't get it. Hey, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, we just started, so you're in for a treat. You gotta get halfway first. halfway halfway through the stream just dies, and it's just like, wow, I didn't think it'd last this long. I don't know him anymore. I don't know who this guy is. I disavow.
Does Mariachi Man know the Mexican Jesus? He probably does, right?
I have no idea. Hey, Jesus called. He says you owe him a 20. Anyway. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Mariachi Man. I appreciate that. But yeah, it's it's a funny thing because again, Sesame Street. I mean, pretty much it's like with Mr. Rogers, right? Everyone almost grew up with Mr. Rogers, you know, and then you have Sesame Street is second to that because, of course, you know, PBS and all that stuff. It's just a sadness when you remember watching something and it was mostly just about keeping you distracted because that's why your parents showed it to you, and all of a sudden it's like, nope, we got to get woke. And I'm just like, why you got to do this? Why do you got to be down like this? Yo, come on, for reals.
The control grid, man. They've got to program the young minds, you know.
God dang, Abe. hey, horror stream. Oh my goodness. So how long you been doing this silly stuff? This music making, all this jazz?
I've been DJing since like 2001. Used to just DJ house parties, man. I had a party house. That's how I started. And then I started DJing out in public, and got into the little bar scene, music promotion, and then after all that ended, just went back to regular life and was DJing in clubs and bars. And then
Nice.
COVID hit. I said, "Fuck this!" After the second wave, bars just kind of, it was dead at this bar I was DJing at for months, dude. And I was like, "Is anybody coming back? Is this worth my time?" I felt like I was ripping off the owner,
Yeah.
getting paid to be there. And what am I doing? I'm like working and DJing. It's a lot of work. You're up all night, right? And so yeah, I just started doing it at home, and I was already making music videos and stuff already. So uh, yeah, so then I just kind of disappeared from the world and just was on YouTube for a while, and then YouTube was a pain,
Hmm.
and found the glory that is Rumble. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah, it certainly is a continual journey because it's not done yet. And I know there's their up and downs of it, but yeah, it was I remember during that time I was working at a dealership, car dealership, and I was in the Wash Bay area. Technically the title was detailing, but I didn't always detail. It's mostly just cleaning up cars that come through for checkups. Or if they get an oil change, they get a free car wash. Cleaned up cars for ones that were sold, loan cars, stuff like that. And
Did you ever
the
find any drugs in any of the cars?
No, but I did find some crappy cars on the inside. Like people would just not take care of the. These are BMW vehicles, mind you, and they cost thousands upon thousands of dollars. Like they with the last when I was there, the last vehicle that come out was the X7, which is this huge tank of a vehicle. It's just massive. There was one somebody let their kids run through it. All right. And they just and those things at a base, I think at a base was like 90 to 100,000 for one of those vehicles. And
Yeah.
yeah, and so and a BMW is high, high and stuff, right? They're not cheap by any measure, but you let yeah, families and whatnot, but you just let your car just get ran through, and it's just like, oh wow, I guess it isn't that important, but yeah, so there was that. I worked back there, and I think it was 2019, 2020, they furloughed us because of all that stuff.
Mm.
It only ended up being a month, but of course this was during the time when people would get that extra bit back on the unemployment factor. Right. I knew I was going to get my job back, but that was part of the position is that, because of the whole ordeal. And so what was it? We got furloughed. It was about a month, 4 weeks. So it was a pretty interesting 4 weeks. I probably got a little lazy during that time, but I got to sleep in. That was nice. And then that extra bit at the end, because if you was just, I'm going to tell you what, if you're on unemployment and you didn't have that bonus bump that you got from the COVID stuff, you would not make it per month. You would not make it. You were getting like 100 and something bucks a month, and that was it. A week, and that was it. And it's like, no, mm-mm.
Yeah, dude.
Like I get paid at my current full time job. I get paid weekly, and I'm telling you what, even I still have trouble of, I mean, still have trouble, keeping enough money to the side. I started there you go, yeah. So a lot of people started stuff during the C19 stuff, and so again, like I said, it was go one for a month, and then once it was over, we got the email or call back in. Had to do like a few things, paperwork, all that stuff. You know how it goes. And I got back, but yeah, it was an interesting time. Fortunately, it was at the right time that there was that extra bit, but it was still just it was still more of a heartache to others than what I was going through, because I was at least still able to get something out of it. So,
Mm.
but yeah, it's a bit of a slap around for pretty much everyone. But a lot of people, it was a positive setback, because sounds like with you found something, especially with Rumble.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've got to keep myself busy, dude.
Yeah.
The thoughts in my head, though, little person that speaks to me
Mhm.
doesn't say very good things.
Yeah. He says, you didn't shave today. You better shave. You look like a slob. Get better. Who the
So,
fudge are you?
how'd you make ends meet during that time? Did you have to go sell yourself out on the streets?
Only when the crack was good, but no. I'm at a sidewalk crack. Sidewalk crack. Come on now. That's what they called it, the old style. No, I didn't really have to because the I was on unemployment.
Hmm.
So it was only for a month, and the bonus money that people were getting, that extra bit that people were getting from the C-19, whatever the government was giving out, helped with that. Otherwise, if it was just the unemployment stuff, it would have been impossible. But at the end of it, it only lasted a month. I was only for a load a month, and I got that extra bit. So no, I didn't have to do very much. I was able to sleep in, so the whole
You
time.
my psychiatrist used to tell me that denial's not just a river in Egypt. You were selling yourself, weren't you?
No. I do like that joke though. Yeah, denial is not just denial is not that's what the people from the Bronx say. Denial, denial, right over there, denial. Um, so, but you've been so that means you've been with the Rumble Factor since what, 2020 then, or 20, or after that?
I don't know. I was putting videos on here for a while, for at least a year before I even tried live streaming. So it's been
Yeah,
a while. I was on YouTube. I've been on YouTube for like 12 years though, or something like that.
that's insane. As logically, that's insane. But
Mhm.
yeah, because when was it? I remember Rumble was still before they went public. Is when I got onto Rumble. Or they denied me help, so I went through all my savings and stuff. Yeah, I can hear that. Many people did, unfortunately. Um, what was it? But yeah, I, I was at Rumble before they went public, and so it was still that clonkiness to it, right? It's still that weirdness, and they've leaps and bounds from that point. If anyone was here during that time, I think Rants Gaming, who I've had on, was on during when they used to do battling against videos, right? Like a video would, two videos would battle against each other, and they
Oh,
and
didn't
whatever
even
got.
know about that.
What was that?
Didn't even know about that.
Yeah, that he was around since that long. Because again, Rumble started in 2013, and I don't think they didn't get the, what was it, the public, selling public, that sort of thing, until 2019, 2020, something like that. Um, so there's that, and that's where the infusion of cash came from for them to do more. But yeah, it's been around that long. But yeah, that's sort of the area I started, was probably 1920, or I just made an account. I didn't make any videos or anything like that until like 23, and that was more. That's both ends. I've been doing this to both ends for uh, almost a year now. Well, yeah, a little over a year. Um, I did pre-recorded videos first, which started in May of last year, so that's been a year. Um, and then I went on to live stream, but I had to wait a bit because Rumble was the 5 follower deal, right? You remember
Oh,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
It was 100 when I started.
Jeez. Yeah. Well, it changed a lot after. Um, and then what was it? And then they changed it up so it didn't have to be 5. But that was after I'd bought the Pro package, which was, it would allow you to live stream. Uh, hey, Seven Mario, welcome, sir. Welcome. But yeah, the Pro package allowed you to skip all that 5 thing, and then that's when I started to live stream to both. Now, obviously, I used OBS to do that. I didn't use StreamYard, because StreamYard you had to pay like $25 a month to do like more one place. I'm like, I want to do both places though, so it was whatever. So OBS was free, and had that multi plugin that you had to download and stuff. And then once they started getting the beta for Rumble Studios, that's when I signed up for that wait list, and that was quite a time. So it was probably like third or fourth wave that people got, and then I've been using it ever since. Ups and downs, of course. There've been plenty of
Sure.
that. There've
Yeah,
been plenty of those.
held off at first. I was debating on doing a DJ thing with one of my friends on here, alternative mixtapes, and yeah, I think I was just like, we'll wait up a bit, you know.
Yeah, yeah, and it's but no, that's understandable. it's just if you've been around since that long, you've seen a lot of the changes, and also again you've been through that as well with the ups and downs of it, and I think the more as a line of going through his page. Are you talking about? Are you talking about synth stream? I've got a line of going through his page. Okay, I don't know if you're talking about synth stuff or not. I don't know. Um, you have the line too. What? I don't know what's going on in my chat anymore.
No, I don't know. You done got hacked, man. That's it. I sent in the hackers.
It's
I'm actually,
all.
I'm actually an elite hacker. I'm not really a DJ. I fooled you, man.
Oh my gosh! No wonder you play the key so well because you can drop the beat on that code. You can, instead of clickety clacking on the keyboard, you with your records.
Right.
That would be so interesting. Like, wait, so you're saying he hacks with vinyl? Yeah, dude, he's just like going like this, and my computer was going like whack, bro. It's like whoa. How? I don't know, bro. He's just like the smart dude. I don't get what's going on here. I look at him. He's doing the and I'm like, what's turn up the beat, and my computer's already his. I'm like, what the?
That's right. The power of analog.
The
That's
power
right.
of the power of analog. Dear goodness. Um, dang it! Now I'm sidetracked. No, but yeah, I've enjoyed using it, despite the issues, and I've enjoyed making the content sort of a deal for both ends. I know people have their instances of with certain platforms, and that's fine. You do what's best for you. You should always any creator should always do what's best for them. I'm not going to go out to the changing minds. Otherwise, the best way to change someone's mind is not to tell them so; it's to show them so. That's the only way. Be the example, show them so, that sort of thing.
I kind of go with the seed technique. I
Yeah.
like planting seeds, and I'm not really good at living a good example. A lot of my life was a very bad example. So,
Mhm.
like, and for someone like me, it's hard to change my mind. I'm really stubborn. So,
Yeah.
like, I feel like seeds is a good way. Like I plant something, say something, put a little something in there,
Mm,
and if that person has that in them, it'll
mm.
grow.
Yeah, it reminds me of the movie Inception, where he, where him and his wife, that guy, him and his wife are deep in the dream sort of thing, and they're creating all this stuff, and he wants to get out of it because years passed, but it's only seconds, you know, out of the dream, right? And he implants this idea, which was like the spinning top, into his wife's head of getting out of the dream so they can get back to real life. And of course, we all know that ended up killing her. But the point of the matter is that, as you said, you kind of plant the idea, and maybe it'll take root, maybe it won't. Um, and again, it's all about I'd rather show than say, because I think it cuts across trying to explain it right. Like if you have to explain to somebody how to do something, you use more words than necessary because you have to get it right. Like you have to like one and two or A and B and C and all this stuff where you can just show them and just like, oh, so I do it like that. Yes, you do it like that. Pay attention, but do it like that, and maybe that'll work. But everyone's different. Everyone's different. Some are visual learners. Majority of people are visual learners, and some are auditorial learners. And you have a good ear, so.
Definitely love the visuals though, man. I've always been a big movie kid. I grew up watching movies and playing video
Mm,
games constantly. So like I I love visuals, and it's a great way to train or get somebody to learn something. So actually that's like something that I've really tried to refine with my video editing over the years is
mm.
how to tell a story without words.
Ooh, yeah, that's a difficult one because I know it's been done before. Obviously, there are those small ones, but there are a few of those where it's no words, you just see action, right? You just see movement. And although I can't think of them, but they're there. It's like, what was it again? I can't remember. Then you're staring off in the distance for like 10 minutes and everyone's like, is he all right? It's like, I wonder what ice cream I'll have today. Oh man. But yeah, what in the world? Oh, I see it. Yep. I got it. Yeah, I was wondering what was going on. There was the comment down there was weird thing. I got it, guys. Don't worry. But yeah, it's you know what? I'm just gonna backtrack on that because I can't remember where I was at, and we're just gonna. you just you ever you ever see someone trying to edit something live? It's like, you know what? We're just gonna we'll rewind this a bit here. We're gonna find something to grasp onto.
It didn't happen. Just pretend it didn't happen. Jedi
It,
mind break that shit.
it didn't happen at all. It was told. You know what? That video of the poor kid falling down the well never happened. It was just never existed at all.
Going to BMW from the car detail place never happened. Never happened.
It was like a dream. It was just bam. I woke up and I was like, holy crap. What am I gonna have for breakfast today? But that's the joy of the show is I can go anywhere and people either I know again I know not everyone is some sort of hack thing. Well, it's not there anymore. I'm not a witch, goodness sake. I may be a witcher, but that's totally different. But yeah, it's it's fun to do this thing with other people because they're a huge, like I was telling you earlier, behind the scenes I have to recount first, but I'm almost to 100 people. And when a lot of content creators are focused on, trying to get their follower count up, views, comments, all this stuff, which is understandable, right? That's the engagement factor. But when I look at saying I've had close to 100 different people on, and I don't think I've yet seen a creator have that many people on in a short period of time. Now I started the whole conversational aspect because I was doing like gaming, I was streaming gaming, I did like a movie review, a few or whatever, but the conversational stuff didn't start until November of last year, and I didn't start doing like the fill the month sort of thing until I think April. And so going from that point, right, from November to this point, I didn't think I'd be at this point, to be honest with you.
Yeah. It goes by fast, doesn't it?
It does. It does when you're busy with something you're enjoying, right? Because I do enjoy this. I do enjoy the people I get to have on. Some people are only on once, can't get a reach back, and some people are on multiple times. And every new person you bring on, there's a different perspective, different way you can take things. Obviously, a big chunk of people I've had on are creators of one way and another. But the point of the matter is I've accepted both stances. You don't have to be a creator to be on here, right? You don't have to. Can you get a reach on?
See, that's what I was thinking. I was like, if you can't get a reach back, then maybe you could do a reach around.
That's for people. Some you can't get rid of. Yes, Phoenix Electra. Some you just can't get rid of. But why would I want to get rid of you? But anyway, but no, it's exciting to have new and different people on because you'd be surprised of either what you learn or what you see is something of similar fate you can agree on. Because the interesting factor of this whole ordeal is that a lot of the times where content creators go to a niche, right? Star Trek, Star Wars, entertainment, all this stuff. That's fine. You choose the thing that you with music, right? You choose the niche you want to work with because it's that one thing you like. But excuse me. But the thing of it is that when you get down to conversing with others, and I know that other people do it, but I don't know if to the extent that I've done it. When you have that, you begin to understand that maybe we're just fighting over nothing, right? It feels like after a while, it feels like we're fighting over nothing, or we're confused in what we're actually fighting about, right? Division of stuff, whether it be political or whatever, doesn't really matter. It's just divisive either way. The point of the matter is that when you get past your own bias, obviously, but when you get past to a point where you can not get so easily emotionally struck, right? Like they hit a chord, you get very defensive and all this stuff. I think you get surprised by, oh, wait, they might have a different idea, but we're kind of on the same page here. Because I've disagreed with a lot of different people, right? I've had a lot of different people and I've had disagreements with, but it's not an argument. It's not a screaming match, which, dear Lord, I do not want to be one of those places. You said what? You said.
Yeah. So, what do you think? Do you think that you could end up getting into it with somebody with one of these interviews at some point, that you actually have to go out in real life and actually just duke it out? That's the best way to deal with things sometimes.
Maybe for some, but for me, it's a very wasteful endeavor, and the reason is because what does better more? Does it better to get an argument and to beat each other up? No, I know you're joking, but no. Although, so instead of Jerry, it's Dara, Dara, Dara. That part would be nice.
Yeah.
I've already eaten Mexican tacos. I don't have to go down to Mexico, Cyber Mario. Sorry. I don't have a passport either, so no. But it's just, it's look, I get it. There are times where you kind of have to get your stuff out there, and maybe it involves some yelling or anger. But at the end of the day, though, that's kind of wasteful because anger is a short burst of energy, but it peters out. Right? You've probably noticed when at times you're angry, you have a big fiery burst and then it just peters out after a while. And so anger is good for some things, but it doesn't. Sometimes in that anger you aren't productive. I don't know if that's what you see from your end, because obviously I imagine you've been angry quite a few times, or not at all. Maybe you're Zen Buddha.
I think that I think fighting has its place.
Yeah,
I don't really like arguing online or anything. That's I've always kind of had that rule, but like not to say I haven't, but like I think a good fist fight. I think when you're in a fight, sometimes that's like something that it will leave an impression. Sometimes that's the only way to get through to somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, I live in an area of the country that I'm on the West Coast, so like people here will say anything because they've never had anybody just put them in their place.
Right.
And, sometimes that is something you will remember distinct for the rest of your life. And I think there are times for it. I'm not trying to justify just doing stuff like that. I think there has to be a reason, but like I do think that it has a purpose.
Yeah, I can agree to that because again, family stuff like that. There are times when there's a justification for it, but there also could be times where you over justify for something that's ridiculous because that's
right.
Yeah. Now West is the California side, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Just north of California. I mean, a lot of people know where I'm at already. It's not like I'm trying to hide anything. I'm in Oregon, so.
Oh, Oregon. Oh, yeah. I was just like, because I get confused because there's, because there's like the Atlantic and the Pacific, and I think California touches the Pacific and New York touches the Atlantic. I'm not good at geography. I apologize. I look at map and say, "Ooh, look at this." Why does it say Alaska? Who's Al?
I don't even know what maps are anymore anyways, man. They just like Google Maps? Is that what you mean?
Did you say Google? No. No, get out the papers. Like, there's a paper in there? If anyone threatens my boy, I'm going to throw fists, but after that piece...
Yeah, Abe.
Jesus got real after he was
Oh,
with the
that's got to
apostles.
be a real quote, right?
Jesus, it looks like Jesus said it. And Astro Doge says, "Dang, I should have visited SynthTrax for moving from Oregon back in November." Ooh, oh, well, it's too late now. Too late now, Astro. Funny thing is, Astro's going to be on tomorrow. So,
Oh, really?
oh yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Well, I showed you that. I showed you my I showed you my calendar for the rest of the year, rest of
Mhm.
the month. So I've got plenty of people left. Although I'm looking forward to all of them. Some of them have been on before, like General Duality's been on before, and
That says
Tommy.
cream duty. That's what it says.
What?
I can't read what you're writing, is what I'm trying to say.
That's crazy. Gaffo, crazy Gaffo,
Oh, the one
and
in the middle
that's
looks like cream duty.
no,
Duty.
it's General Duality. Yeah,
Oh,
cream
okay,
duty.
sorry.
That just sounds like diarrhea at that point. Cream duty. Just instead of calling it diarrhea, you just call it cream duty. We have to take a number 3. Oh, he's got to do a cream duty again. Ah, gosh dang
Well, you
it.
had to do cream duty during your time when you weren't making that much money, right? You had to do cream duty. You know what I'm saying?
Well, I was outside a lot, that's for sure. I'm not gonna fall for it. I'm not gonna fall for that trap. Me too, Astro. Me too. We're looking forward to tomorrow, because that should be fun. Obviously, you get to see how this one goes, and so as many of this. I like being able to. I know. Uh, when I try to explain this show, they're so like, "Wait, what is it about again?" I was like, "Okay, let me sit you down and just do it. Hey, synth, drop a beat. Yo, this is a story about
Like dance, monkey dance.
work it, work it, work it. Hey, White Bear, how are you doing, good sir? White Bear, I've had on too. He's a pretty cool dude. Um, yeah, it's and funny enough, I've had 2 people from Alaska on here, so that's been interesting.
I've never been to Alaska. I've been all over the U.S., but I've never been to Alaska.
They from where I'm at, they're 4 hours behind me, so they'd be probably an hour behind you.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what that time zone is called, but and of course they know us as the lower 48 because high up there, isolated, all that stuff, and a bunch of other things too. It's always nice to talk to somebody from Alaska and kind of hear how life is up there because you see those shows like Discovery, like ooh, the crab, whatever that show is, or the Greatest Catch, whatever, and then what is that other one? Living out in the wilderness of Alaska or what have you. It and after a while, it's either it's dramatized or it's just like, really, guys, can you just? I get you're living out there, but that's not everything because there is Anchorage. They do have cities. It's just it gets a lot colder up there.
Right.
Spend too long in Alaska, and the synth wave gets a little too real. Gets a little too cold too, if you get my drift. Just imagine you're trying to make music, and then all of a sudden it stops. Like, dang it! It froze up, guys. I'm sorry, we can't do anything with this. It just froze up.
I probably like the cold. I grew up in the cold when I was really young. I was in Wyoming, like an hour from Salt Lake City when I was a kid.
Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
I mean, I liked it.
I thought Salt Lake City was in Utah.
It is, but the town I was in was right at the bottom left corner of Wyoming. Have you ever seen the movie SLC Punk?
Never even heard of it. So
Oh my God,
I'm
you're
a
missing
lost
out on
cause.
a piece of history right there. It's got Matthew Lillard in it.
Uh, I've seen a lot of Matthew Lillard. He's probably the best Shaggy after Casey Kasem. So
Yeah,
we all
yeah,
we all remember
it's a
those
movie
movies.
about punks, and it came out in the 90s.
Mhm.
I was living in the town at the time, and they came and filmed there. It's like an
Wow.
hour from Salt Lake City. Everybody drives down from Salt Lake City because you can't buy liquor there unless it's from the state store. So they
Oh.
drive to Wyoming to my town to pick up
Mhm,
fireworks
mhm.
and liquor, and then drive back to Salt Lake City. And they actually did that in the movie. The punks drive down to my town, and then
Uh-huh.
so I'm like an hour from the Mormon capital of the U.S.
Oh my goodness! But they don't. They're not like they look well dressed. They're not like the Amish. They don't look like the Amish or whatever. Maybe some of them have big beards. I don't know. You're starting to get a bit of a beard, so I mean that's something. Are you gonna raise a barn later? Or you're just gonna rap about it.
I'm gonna raise something, buddy. I might rap you. I might rap you, Sonny.
I'm too far away, and I like playing with the other team. But anyway, and what was the show? It was like, oh, it just became so degenerate. It was just so awful. It was so awful. They made jokes that made me scream and cry at the same time. Um, no, but that's pretty interesting. Yeah, Wyoming.
Yeah, dude. A land
They
of nothing.
get they get to the negatives during winter. They're like
Yeah, dude.
real negatives. Like,
Yeah.
but
Negative 15. Negative 15 when I was a kid. I remember walk to school. It'd take like half an hour to walk to school. And you get to school and there's icicles in your eyebrows.
yeah, when I was talking to the people from Alaska, I think he said I think they said it gets like to -50, and add the wind chill to that. Yeah, but the thing is if it's not blowing wind or anything, they could be out just fine. They just can't touch anything because it's like blistering, right? It blisters you. Extreme cold, extreme heat, it blisters you either way. So they have to be
Like being burned. It's almost the same thing.
That's why you're here, Phoenix. Yeah, it is. It's sort of like that. And I was a kid once, right? And during the winter, you do a stupid thing like stick your tongue on a frozen, handrail or something like that, and you get the unfortunateness of pulling your tongue off, and it's just
Are you talking about a movie or real life?
real life. I know that
Oh,
the movie Christmas Story, they do have that.
yeah, yeah.
They do have that, but no, I was like, I was at it was a church or something like that, and it was winter, and I can't remember the reason. Don't ask, but I just stuck my tongue to a handrail for some odd reason, and then I just remembered that. Well, too late now, and yeah, I pulled it up. Oh, I didn't. Usually, what they do is they would pour hot water or whatever on it, so that way it would help, but I didn't do that. So yeah, I ended up with not being able to eat very well for a while. So yeah, don't do that, kids. If someone dares you, just say it better be $100 first.
Do the people on your streams like story time? Do they like story? Do they like stories?
every time is a story time. Synth drop the
Every
beat.
time?
Every just about I you've never been to my stream. I've got a whole bunch of people tell me a whole bunch of different things. It's story time almost all the time. Drop the beat.
I remember when I was a kid. So like one of the things I used to love doing when I was a kid in Wyoming is sledding. You got hills and
Mhm.
you got snow, and the snow is thick. And I remember when I was a kid once, have you ever gotten into like a crazy, some kind of crazy bad thing happen when you were sledding or anything like that? Any kind of injury? I was
Mm,
sledding. I went down this hill
mhm.
and I was going too fast. I shouldn't have done it. And then at the end of the hill, there was a fence, and then there's
Oh,
a cliff, and then there's a cliff right after the fence. So the fence was keeping people from going to the cliff. I was
ah,
going, I was going so fast that I couldn't stop, and I was too stupid to jump off the sled. And so I hit the fence and I went through it. And I got stuck halfway hanging in the air, and then the fence was stuck into my back. And I was just hanging on the edge of the mountain for like 2 hours screaming until somebody came and found me.
that's daunting. That's daunting. Yeah, the only thing I think of is there was a hill before it became they tore the hill down and made an apartment complex area out of it. But one of my siblings had you know gone down the hill, and unfortunately at the very not the very very end, but towards the end of it, there's like a pole, like either electrical pole, telephone pole, whatever it is, and I think um, they almost ran into it, but I've never gotten seriously injured on a sled. I went ice skating once and probably hurt myself by falling down, but never to a degree of seriousness. Licking something cold is good practice. Stick to your memes. You ever hear that song Ice Ice Baby? You better start cooling off.
Has he heard Ice Ice Baby? Are you seriously asking him if he's heard Ice Ice Baby?
You never know. Some people be like, I was an Amish child. I've never heard of such a thing. It's like, wow, you've never heard of electricity? That I heard of. I don't have enough to work with this. It's like taking water from stone. It's like, really? Oh my goodness. But no, it's funny what you, because I imagine you're probably a little older than me, but it's funny what you do. Once in a while, you kind of go back over and just remember a few things, especially if it's family members or whatever. And sometimes you can remember it well. Sometimes it's pretty fuzzy. You remember bits and pieces. Like I would remember times where I would be dreaming of just falling, just falling through, space, that sort of thing. And you'd always wake up and felt like you fell off your bed or whatever. I was still on my bed, but I didn't fall off, and stuff like that. Or just maybe like a trip to, like I remember we used to.
Wait a minute here.
What?
What if maybe you were levitating? Maybe you were actually levitating in your bed, and when you woke up, you just fell down and hit the bed.
You know what? It could have been. I could have been like Houdini. I just do through the hoop, bend through the hoop, and it's like, ooh,
It could be you got superpowers, but only in your sleep.
Yeah. Yes, I have one that's called the super fart. It clears real well on this thing. What the hell's going on? It's why I'm lonely, because I. Oh man,
He's lonely. He's lonely, guys. You hear that?
Yes, when you fart in your sleep, it just it is over. But it's a funny thing, right? You we can. So it seems like for women, it seems like it's one of those things where it's kind of distraught, or men think it's sort of a distraught thing. But when a woman farts, it's slightly funny, right? Like you can fart, and it's just like when you try to fart, right? It's in a funny way, right? The hot box, you're in a car, you're in control of the windows, everyone's got to suffer.
Women don't fart, dude.
Yeah, that's a lie they always tell. She's Amish get to on Rumspringa. Those folks have stories to tell. I'm pretty sure they do. I even saw a TV show, more like reality TV, but we all know that's scripted anyway. But yeah, it's just funny how we perceive each other in some manner, men and women, and that's kind of gotten out of hand now. By joining stream, you came onto a stream of two gentlemen talking about whatever the heck they want, and we're having fun with it.
That's right. Phoenix knows women do not fart, and if you do smell something, it's not a fart; it's a Glade plug-in. That's it.
Rose scented. Yeah, you keep telling yourself that, Phoenix, but I bet you what, your cats won't be around you when you let off a bomb. A gas bomb. You said for the poop. No, a lot of people laugh at bathroom jokes and fart jokes. Come on, even as a kid, you'd be laughing your face off, like.
Yeah. I don't ever get tired of it. Never get tired of fart jokes.
You never get tired of it. So there's a joke I know. There's a and I've told it once before a long time ago, but there's this bartender, right? And he notices that this guy is playing with his hand. He's like, well, what the hell's going on over here? And so he kind of goes over to the guy and he's asking, like, why, what are you doing? Why are you playing with the hand? It's like, why, I just had this cell phone surgically installed in my hand. It's like, no way. Guy lets him call a few friends and all this stuff. Like, that's incredible. It's like, yeah. Hey, I gotta use the restroom. You mind watching my drink while I go back? He said, yeah, sure, no problem. So the bartender's like, keep an eye on his stuff while doing his stuff, and it's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and it's getting a little long in the tooth. It's like almost 45 minutes, and he's a little worried that this guy's like, died or something, had a heart attack, whatever, stuff like that can happen. And so the incoming bartender's coming in, and like, hey, can you watch this stuff to make sure that this guy's not like dead in there or whatever, he hasn't paid yet, that sort of stuff. He says, sure. So the bartender goes, he's going to the bathroom, and he finds this guy spread eagle with toilet paper up his butt. And then, the bartender's asking, like, what the hell's going on here? And the guy says, well, I'm receiving a fax.
You went on for too long. You went on for too long.
Hey, I have to explain the little bits here now, all right? I'd hate to be around when the guy runs out of ink. Bean burrito.
Look at this. You got Blip and Blap up in here saying, I don't get what your guys' shades are for.
It's whatever you want it to be for. Heck yeah, that's what it's for. It's whatever I
Well,
want it to be
obviously, because he's a patrolman. He's a highway patrolman.
for.
And I'm from the 80s.
Yeah, there you go. He's the 80s synth wave. That seems to be a big thing now, is the synth wave on, like, because there's a whole bunch of on YouTube, 80s synth wave that do all this stuff. I'm like, I don't even know what synth wave. It's like vaporwave. I'm like, what the hell's a vaporwave? Is that like a microwave for vapor? What the hell's going on here?
I don't know. I've been into synthwave for 14 years. So to me, it's a lot of things, but like, I guess it's like a feeling, because there's so many different variations of it, because you can make it to where it like feels like a thriller movie. You can make it sound like a horror film or a sci-fi. So there's like a lot of styles. So it's a lot, man. I don't know. It's in reality, it's synthesizer music with a nostalgia feel, right?
So what is vaporwave though? Because I've heard that one be said it too. Is that the
Yeah.
same thing?
I mean, it's another style, but it's really just like a bunch of people that were trying to be I mean, there's probably documentaries on this that I might not be 100%, but it's like, to me, what it is it's just like people that were trying to get past copyrights, and they just slowed music down and then put a beat to it.
Well, yeah, there's I mean, in the past, musicians would do that, like they slowed down their music, 4-track, 8-track, all that stuff. But yeah, I mean, synthesizers have been around for quite a long time, though. The Moog, the Moog synthesizer was probably one of the most well-known synthesizers back in the day. Then you have the Mellotron, which is sort of pre-synthesizer, but it's more of tape-ish. I don't know if you know what a Mellotron is, but
No idea.
you have
Have you ever seen a theremin?
yes.
Dude, those are cool.
Yeah, they are. They're very I believed it was used in Doctor Who, I think, for the theme music.
Right, it probably was, huh? Now you see that. Yeah, now
Yeah.
you see I'm connecting things in my head here. I'm not
Yeah.
really a Doctor Who fan, but
Yeah. It's a funny factor. The theremin is nice. I do like some of those older stuff, like, so you know what the Moog synthesizer is, so at least you're not too dated. But there's like, what is a theremin? You probably can explain it better. What is a theremin there?
it's like a box with like this metal piece that comes out of it, and then you can disrupt like the air around it to create sounds. And so I saw a chick to play it live with this band once, and I was like, holy crap. She's just moving her hands around it and changing the way the instrument sounds. So there's no strings or anything on it. It's just she had a wooden box with some knobs on there, and then just a metal piece of brass or whatever it was coming out of it.
Yeah, there's two poles. There's like one that goes up, and I think there's like just one straight out, because they do like this thing, they just do their thing. It's sort of like interrupting the field sort of thing, right? Like the magnetic field or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I've seen that used. The really interesting thing, though, there is a musician I follow. His name is his band name is called Wintergotten, and he the first time I saw him, he used a marble machine to make music. So I'll look. I won't.
I think I know you're talking about. Does he do little videos?
He does videos. He's upgrading his. Here, I will show you what it looks like, but I'm definitely not gonna play, because I don't want to do all that copyright crap. Yes, I can. Yeah, okay, share. Here we go. All right, so that's him. That's him right there. Wintergotten, the Marvel
videos before. I know, I've seen that.
Yeah. So this is his first one, and it worked, but the marbles were dropping all over the place. Right now he's on. So this was his secondary one. This was his secondary build, and that's the secondary one right there, and it looks pretty good. But now he's on his third build, and it's going to be something he can take on the go for his band. But the band is called Winter Gatten, and it's Swedish. I don't know what it is, but I saw that. I saw his thing, and I was like, oh my gosh, you could have a one man band all in one go with marbles. I'm like, that's pretty cool. I mean, it was shaky as heck and all that stuff, but it was pretty neat. But yeah, it's funny what people come up with for instrumentation wise. Like, there was some kid I saw once who created his own guitar, playing blues and stuff, and he just created his guitar of like license plates, some wood, and some other stuff. I'm just like, no, I'm sorry, I don't have that kind. I don't have that kind of talent. Yeah, no, it is cool, and I'm looking forward to see when his new one is done, because the second one was pretty interesting. But yeah, it's that guy's pretty neat, and his name is
You'd probably dig Look Mum No Computer. Have you seen that guy?
who?
Look Mum No Computer. I guess he's from Europe or something. That's how you would say mom.
Yeah. Look.
He did this thing with Furbies and synthesizers. He turned Furbies into synthesizers.
I'm thinking I'm going to show. This is what it shows. So this guy, I'm thinking, is what you're talking about.
Yeah, he's done all kinds of crazy stuff. You'd probably dig it. He does the same kind of thing, except with different devices.
Yeah, because it looks like he's built his cabinet there, which is pretty interesting. Yeah, and he's got like 1.4 million views, so that's something in itself. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. He's built his own stuff because it's always a bit of ingenuity when you see people build their own, like the Marble Machine, where they build their own thing, and it just becomes this sort of what's the not right word to say? It becomes a sort of art piece in itself, if that makes sense, right? Like there's different. Some people have guitars made out of certain material, right, or whatever, however you want to do it, or have custom made guitars. Sorry, but yeah, it's just interesting. I'll check them out later, because I've seen that one that I saw was one I've seen in my recommended before. But anyway, so it is the top of the hour, and what that means is that whenever I have a guest on, every hour on the hour, or not on the hour, sometimes it goes over, but every hour on top of the hour, I set aside some time for us to promote ourselves, right? Because some content creators do it in the beginning, some do it at the end of the show, some do it sporadically throughout. I just do it as sort of like a measurement of, so we've been here with an hour, let's promote, and then you go another hour, and so on and so forth. But anyway, I have put I think I did. I have put your links that I found below. I can get rid of that YouTube one if you want me to.
That's all good.
But if you
wanted to, but
yeah, if you want to, but go and promote yourself. The floor is yours.
Cool. I'm DJ Cheesus, aka SynthTrax. I make music videos. I make DJ mixes with visuals. I do a DJ mix live stream on Fridays. It's a party. It's really an escape. That's what it is. It's a time to let loose after a long week, and that's what it is for me. It's a blast, man. It's like how I can just relax and let loose, and so that's what we do. I'll get in and I'll make videos, premiere them on the live stream, take requests, and play all kinds of different music. That's why I call it riding the wave, because you never know where it's going to go. I don't pre-plan my sets.
Nice.
I might have an idea of like what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like last week we did Hot Goth Summer, and I was going to play a bunch of goth music, and people just were requesting all kinds of crazy stuff. But sometimes it'll go another direction, and it's exciting, man. And we've got really just a lot of great people that hang out. So I do a lot of that. I edit videos, and I hang out with a lot of people on Rumble, play video games, all kinds of stuff. And I don't know, it's just like my little creative space, and you can come and hang out and just have a good time.
Your space of zen. I've stopped by a few times, so I've been matched up. Oh, so you're gonna get a DM. So there you go. Mashup suggestion. So keep
Nice.
down. But yeah, no, I've stopped a few times. I think it's during my pay it forward streams, which we usually do on Friday. And so it's been interesting to stop by. I don't know how you do this stuff. We'll ask that after. But anyway, guys, for my end, whether you're on YouTube or Rumble, please, if you wouldn't mind, like, share, follow, and leave a comment, because that engagement factor helps with bringing, being able to gain more attention, to have more people on. And I know some probably ask like, what's in it for them? That's the thing. I'm like, if you understood how helpful it is when that engagement, I know Rumble's algorithm is not up that par yet, but I stream to YouTube as well. And to have that ability to have those connections of being connected to other people, to have them on, or at least have the opportunity to, and just do this thing where maybe if it's only the one time, I understand, but if they get to come back on again and again and again, that means it's something enjoyable that we can both share in. So yeah, anything with help with engagement is beneficial. And again, all you guys are doing is doing all the small stuff. I have to do the big work of asking them on, setting the schedule, all this. I have 2 calendars to try to keep things in order. All right, you just saw one of them. The other one's on my phone, but I'm doing all this stuff because I think I'll explain later. But also the fact, if you, right, you on the screen watching now or later in the future, right, if you are watching in now or in the future, in the future, ooh, futureware, I think that's another type of thing too. But after, um, if you'd like to come on, down in the description below, you'll find. I gotta do this. You'll find his links, right? Don't forget to check his stuff out. If he's worth a follow, give it, up to you. But if you'd like to have the opportunity to come on, down in the links below, I have a link tree. Go to the link tree. I have a Twitter X, a Discord, an email, either or. Mostly I do my messaging through Twitter X. I know some people don't have Twitter X, so there's email and Discord. I try to keep up on both ends. But look, this is open to just about anyone. Look, I'm not here for arguments. I'm not here for debates. I'm not here for people who just want to troll and not have a conversation. Those people, there's a place for you on the internet. It's just not here. I'm here for the conversation with others. Uh, I like SynthTrax. I like Tomby. I like Panda Sub 2000 and like so many more. And I'm almost to 100 people, so gonna see what I can get by the end of the year. But yes, any help with the engagement on either end, and if you want to come on, there's a link tree down below. I appreciate you all so much for that. And yeah, so how do you make those videos? Because it seems like you use AI for some of that stuff.
I do. There's a lot of different things I do. So I use a program called Wondershare Filmora to edit my videos. Highly recommend.
Mm.
Obviously, you know.
Mm.
And I will gather clips from whatever it is that I'm using for video. But I also generate a lot of the stuff myself. So I use AI. So I'll use Midjourney
Mm.
to make images. I
Mm.
use Kyber to animate images, but also I've been starting to use Luma,
Oh
and
yeah.
Luma's pretty cool. And I also use sometimes I'll use this program called Photomosh to do like quick graphical things to
Oh
images and stuff.
yeah.
Um, and so that's the majority of what I use. Oh, I've been using Suno a lot lately.
Ooh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people I've seen use Suno for like making a theme song
Mhm.
for their show or whatever, which is fine. You can tell it's AI because it's not clean,
Right.
voice and whatnot, but it'll get better over time. It usually does. But yeah, I used to use Midjourney. I paid the monthly, but I had to get rid of it because couldn't keep paying it.
Expensive.
Um, well, the lowest is like $10 a month, but
Yeah, I use it so much. I use it so much. I've got the one that's a little bit more. Like I
yeah,
just so much time in there to, so.
But the fascinating thing is Luma, right? I've been following Luma and I've seen the post. Oh my gosh.
Right?
Are you insane? It's and the thing of it was is that Sora.ai came out not too long ago, or was announced not too long ago. Not to the public, but it was, just to make its presence aware. And that was supposed to be like making a video, uh, a minute video with just a simple line of text. And Loom was like, you can take two different points. Like they was showing the they showed that one meme of the guy looking back to the other girl. And it turned into getting rickrolled. I'm just like, what
Yeah,
the?
dude. It's getting there. Like Luma, I think give it a year
Mhm.
and you're gonna really see some crazy stuff. But Kyber has been around longer. And when I first started using Kyber, it felt a lot like Luma. And now
Mhm.
Kyber is like more sophisticated.
Mhm.
So I don't know if you've ever used Kyber, but
How how do you spell it?
Kaiber.
A B-E Kyber.ai, right?
Got it. Yeah. So it can do small little animations and also do fluid ones. And then also you can pump video into it. So it's gotten way better at what it can do. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's super sick. So like I'll do all three different types on there.
Mhm.
And even lately I've been editing together a video and then pump that in there and make a whole new music video out of it. It's really cool, man.
So flipbook and motion. I think yeah, flipbooks. I mean, flipbook's been a thing for years. So just as you know, we remember as a kid, we would draw, do that complicated drawing and then flip the book and it just moved. That's what animation is to basic. But yeah, the motion is pretty interesting. And yeah, the uh, Luma does that as well, where it takes keyframes and just kind of mashes it up together to some degree. But no, that's pretty interesting. It's
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'll take a look at it later, but yeah, and again, Suno. I know some people use Suno to make like weird music things, and you can't copyright them. You can't copyright your songs you've made through Suno. It's just not gonna happen. But at least you can't get copywritten for them. So, but yeah.
Thank you, Astral. Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, I see.
Very nice of you to say that.
Put them
Thank
on
you.
when I'm working on something. Yeah, there you go. See, it's yours like Lo-Fi Girl. That's also on Rumble as well, or Rumble YouTube that does it. But that's more of like relaxing, chill music. Yours more like futuristic '80s sort of, stuff like that. Um, but it's still great either way. I mean, there's always a need for like an '80s nostalgic sort of synthy kind of vibe, because that's where synth exploded again, is during the 80s, because a lot of artists were using that. Even though synth was like 70s 60s, all that stuff, but you know how it goes. um oh
Yeah, the
what
80s
was
I was big in soundtracks too, and I love soundtracks. I'm all about it.
oh yeah, it's what yeah, obviously. And then of course, you have, yeah, because there would be movies where they do like dun dun dun, stuff like that, where it's just like synthesized. But yeah, with the advent of you know music generation, art. I know people say AI, but this is a very blanket term for something that's very misnomered, because there's a lot of different forms of it. There's music generation, there's art generation, there's what is another one? LLMs, language learning models, machine learning. There's a whole bunch of just stuff out there, but people just strip to AI because that's what it's easier to say, and also it's what they know to say it as. And for me, so when I make my shorts, I use a program called Opus.pro. It's sort of like, I don't know how similar it is to the Eclipse that I've seen some people use, but it's in the same vein. It's more of for podcasting and all that stuff. Nothing that's gaming. That's on our. Um, let's see if I can show it. Yes, I think this will do just fine. Thank you very much. There we go. This is Opus.pro. I use it to and you see a lot of people use it. But I use it to make my shorts for my streams. So streams that I've had Tombi on and so many others, I use them to make it. And so the one I have right now is, I got rid of it, but I had Silver Fox. I did one with Silver Fox, and this is one, of course, one with Divinity. I've got to get that going. But yeah, it's just you still have to go over and correct it. You still have to do editing work, but it does a bunch of the heavy lifting for you. Where, hey, Rich, what's going on, good sir? Nice to see you. Whereas with a regular editor, right, you'd have to pay an editor. They go through the stream, they cut the bits out to do all the stuff. With Opus.pro, it just takes snippets of pieces from the stream, and all you got to do is edit those points. And it's mildly easy at times. Sometimes it's like you're there for maybe half an hour just trying to get a story out of that section. And of course, sometimes it kind of overlaps. So you've already got something that's together and it's overlapping with something that's already been conjoined. So you have to whatever. So some you don't really need to use. I also use a program called Claude.ai, which let me show that one. Bring that up. So Claude.ai is basically its own, chat GPT, but it's not, has nothing to do with open.ai. But I use that for oh, okay. Oh, for Suno. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. But yeah, I use it for my shorts, mostly just for titling and stuff, and just kind of helping with because I use it because I can, tags and whatnot. Because again, I do post to both ends. And all that, but it really is a helpful tool. And I know the arguments, and I'm sure you've heard them as well, for the art stuff and all that. But I think people want to put the genie back in the bottle, but they can't, and that's the issue.
Can't. And I don't know, man. Like I'm really in between on it, like because I don't know. I've been around long enough to see other things get taken over, like the internet.
Yeah.
So,
Obviously.
yeah. So, I mean, to me, the internet in the 90s was like the Wild West. It was awesome, dude. And
AOL chat.
yeah, you do what you want on there and be creative. And then AI kind of feels like that right now. And I'm just like in the back of my head, I'm like, yeah, well, they're going to ruin it.
It's possible, especially with big companies like Microsoft with theirs, ChatGPT. Microsoft has Bing and Open.ai, so they own both that. Google with its stuff. I think Apple's coming out with its own AI thing. I don't know, but no, you're not. I mean, you're not wrong. But I mean, of course, that was back in the day of where 56K was the speed of the day.
Sometimes I wish I'd go back to it, man. Like I don't know. Like I really am kind of dual natured in that way, where I love it. I love technology, but also hate it.
Yeah, it's a tool like anything else we've had. Yeah, Newgrounds is still around. Technology is it doesn't matter what technology, right? Like farming technology and all this other stuff. The technology is all that. It's but it's part of the growth of technology is human curiosity. Can we make it better? Can we make it thinner? Can we make it faster? All that stuff, right? Like the rockets, right? The rockets they use to go to the moon. Can we make it better? Can we make it smaller? Can we make it more, safer or whatever it is? It's just the advent of curiosity. Yeah, I mean, I get the discussions, right? A lot of it is around the generative art stuff, right? Like you use for your end. I only use it for the fun part, like Midjourney, because I just made whatever came to mind. Because I make my own thumbnails. I use a program called Canva to make my own thumbnails. I'm basic.
Yep.
I'm basic. You're not gonna see like this 7-layer design within it. It's just basic. Me, you. That's it. I am not that. I'm not that
Great
deep.
tool. It's a great tool. I make my thumbnails with Canva because it's fast. It's not to say I couldn't use another program, and
Yeah,
sometimes I do, but like to me, like a lot of times I'm just have so much work to do. Efficiency matters, you know?
yeah. I uh I know people use GIMP. That's one. I know people use pick something else. But the thing of it is, right, is you use the tools that work well for you, right? Like you use Midjourney, you use to some degree, you use tools that kind of um, help you out because again, um, I know there are times where you want feedback, right? You said earlier about your music stuff, being kind of maybe to some degree insecure of whether it was good or not, and so you
Sure.
kind of get feedback. But I've used sometimes I showed you Claude the AI. I've used that for getting feedback on my thumbnails. So it's not saying I do it all the time, but sometimes I do, and it's sort of like it's sort of like a mirror, not an exact mirror, but a mirror to yourself, and just kind of like getting those thoughts out of your head to like, does this look great? Does this not look great? And it can kind of give you an idea, but it ultimately ends up on you and how you feel about it.
Mhm.
Feel great, it looks good to you, go for it, right? I have made funny titlings just because they sounded funny or because it goes off the person's name. Like I should have done something with yours, but it's your first time on, so I'm like, we'll just stick with that. Um, but yeah, I get the arguments, but it's a 50-50.
Oh yeah. I've got an interesting view on it that probably a lot of people don't. Well, maybe people on Rumble would agree with me.
Who
But, yeah, for real.
doesn't have a gift?
Bring on the GIMP. For me, like I remember when AI started getting really popular, and like I've always hanging out with a lot of artists. That's just the way I've always been, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of them were freaking out,
Mhm.
and to me, what my thoughts was like, well, you know what? Now I don't have to deal with a bunch of these artists that screwed me over.
It's true.
Like I've commissioned plenty of art over the years. Not to say I can't make my own art, but like
Yeah.
I love art, and like every once in a while you run into somebody who just makes your life a living hell that
Mhm.
you're paying,
Yeah.
and AI allows me to not have to deal with that as often. So
Yeah, and Twitter X doesn't help when you have a bunch of people running to you saying, "Would you like a commission?" It's like, no, thank you. I didn't ask. Don't. And they just follow you for that. And I was like, not everyone, but it's like, I mean, if you want me to help you with commissions, I mean, I could bring you on my show and maybe people can find you, but I'm not going to ask one. I've done one person to do my commissions. That's it. I don't need to do anymore. And that was for my first placeholder video, right? Because on Rumble they allow you to put a placeholder. YouTube not so much, but on Rumble they allow you to put a placeholder video, which is like 2 minutes is what the allowance is, and then you can just have that repeat. But so I head up with that, and then of course I met Panda Sub, and he kind of helps make my placeholder video better. So the one that's right now is all Panda Sub because he's just that guy. But yeah, I've done one commission, and part of it, I understand the plight, right? Like a lot of these artists, they don't call them a starving artist for nothing, right? Like they make their money on their artwork, but it's like when you have a lot of artists, doing parody work, they parody of characters, whatever. It's I don't know. There's a finding line where you're gonna have to choose something with that, right?
right,
Art and this. It can't just be, oh, I'll do all this. If you could do 3D modeling, if you could do a bunch, build your stack of talents, right? You probably have a better chance of someone wanting to come to you. But if you're just doing like one thing and that's it, I don't know what to tell you. Um, and I can get the fear, right? I can get the fear of the AI art stuff, but I, there's always going to be there's always going to be a want for both. There's always going
yeah.
to be a want for both.
And
And
plus, there's always a skill to it, right? Like the way I see it is like just because you don't want to pay an artist and then you want to go and make AI doesn't mean you're good at AI.
True. I've Midjourney. I think Midjourney was like the big one that kind of brought that whole AI sphere thing up because that was sort of. I mean, I remember back in the heyday, I made some stuff, and it wasn't that great or didn't look that great, and then it's gotten exponentially better, and it was only like a year or two time, and that's insane. That's insane. And now there's more than Midjourney now, but Midjourney put its name in the place, so it's going to be around for a while. But yeah, it's insane how some of these things are getting to be better. And again, like I said, I understand. I get the conversation, but at the end of the day, I'm not here to convince you what is or isn't better. I'm here just to tell you that Pandora's box is open, and you're not getting shut down. And and the conversation is always like, well, we got to get legislation and stuff. Like, legislation can't even catch up to technology as it is right now. They are so far behind in the old age. It's stinking ridiculous. They're too slow. They're too slow. So wherever AI is now, it will be totally different by next year because it's just that quick.
Yeah, there's no stopping it now. It's decentralized enough too. There's enough of them out there and different ways to do it at this point. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like, in my opinion, like wouldn't even be the argument at this point, right? Like the argument for me is like, at least the important one to me is the censorship.
Mm.
You know, AI censorship. I have to deal with that in Midjourney, and it's a pain in the ass, dude. So I have to get really creative sometimes to get past it.
Yeah, that is true. They do. I know. I know there's like what novel.ai. I think that's another one. I don't know if it's is what it is. Is a good question. Yeah, I mean it is a good question. Like who controls what, but what pin it. There we go. Yeah, it's a good question to ask who controls what, but at the end of the day, though, there's so much out there whether it's free or paid. I mean, it's just it is. They're all there. If you don't think that Google doesn't use YouTube as a data collection point for its AI stuff, I'm sorry to tell you, you're an idiot. And you agreed to it when you didn't read the EULA.
Yeah, Phoenix has got a good point right there. She's got that whole sewing thing down. So, like, yeah, I mean, there's certain skills out there,
Yeah.
you know. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, a machine could make clothes, right? But like, so there are there are skills out there that I feel like are very hard to replace.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so
It's yeah, I think there are some things that will be irreplaceable, but then again, you look at the fast food stuff, right? You see all the stories of how some are turning into this like I mean, there's been food places in certain areas around the world where they do have a robot. You see the machines at the mall. It makes the cotton candy or whatever, or ice cream or whatnot. But there are no computers making clothes for me. Oh, you just wait, young lady. Someone in a computer is going to be making clothes for you. It's not going to be a gimp, that's for sure. It's going to be a simp. but but yeah, it's an interesting thing when, especially when, again, when you're on a smaller scale. But yeah, like there was a story like McDonald's or something, like Texas had turned to like the kiosks and stuff. Like what do you think the kiosks are at a McDonald's? They're just a quicker way than rather than dealing with the person. Like sooner or later you're not going to deal with the person at all. They're just there for like if something goes wrong. um Callie didn't need to have a 20.
yeah, I'm kind of the mind too. I'm a conspiracy kind of guy. So like for me, like I think that I don't think generally people want a $20 wage.
Yeah.
If you were to ask people, most would be like, that's actually kind of a bad idea. Most people know somebody who owns a business or has known somebody, and they realize that the struggles, right?
Yeah.
And like, there's got to be a give and take. And So I think I'm of the mind that it's more likely that the people that are making these laws are doing it for the end of, whatever the end result is going to be, which is more AI robots doing a job instead of not, because the businesses will benefit from it.
Well, yeah, because what's cheaper? No health insurance, no all that stuff, no life insurance. I mean, at a certain point, a business is a business, and cutting costs is part of your deal. I mean, no matter what job you're at, unless you're really good, you're expendable by far and wide margins. Don't think first, hey, hey, nice to see you, sir. I hope you're doing well. Um, but yeah, it all I'll say is this: do not go to a job and expect that you'll be there forever. And if you do, then either they just didn't care about you, or you were so the job was just so bad that no one else would go there, and you just ended up at that position. There's a very varied reasons, but at the end of the day, many I don't know how many states are, but there are states that are right to work, and so
Right.
you can be gotten rid of for any reason at a certain point.
Yeah. The way I look at it is like this. I mean, it kind of sucks. It's a little bit dark, but maybe
Yeah.
I've got a dark heart. That
He's got a dark heart. Look at him.
nothing in life is guaranteed.
No.
I might just go sit on the toilet after this interview, take a shit, and die.
Well, I'll let you know before you do that. This is an interview, but hey, you know what? You got something. Yeah. He really took a crap and then he just died.
I squeezed too hard. I was like pushing too hard, and just next thing you know, that's an end of SynthTrax.
He had to get it out quick, but then he just died. He flew out like a rocket. I don't know why. Now he's just dead. Now he's just dead. Now he's just dead.
People on Twitter will be like, "SynthTrax dropped a clogger and died." And he clogged his heart and the toilet.
They say there would be they'll be like, I've never seen it so big before.
Damn. What are we talking about?
Right, reminds me of that South Park episode where who is it? Is it Kyle's? Yeah, it was Kyle's Stanley Marsh. Where Stanley Marsh, he takes the biggest dump of his life, and he's like, he gets up to flush it, and he's like, he tried to get to his wife. He's like, oh my gosh, look at this. And he's like, he brings his son. Is like his son, like, oh my gosh. If that's the way you want to go for it, man. But just make sure it's a world record breaker.
I'd rather go that way. There's a couple ways I definitely don't want to die. I don't want to get eaten by a shark. That sounds really bad. Sounds really bad. I don't want to fall off a building. That sounds like the whole fall part. That sounds really bad too.
Yeah.
And on a toilet sounds pretty nice right now.
Yeah. You have some time to think on your way down, and it's not pretty. Or you record breaker, you get the hammer. Hammer time. Did it. I don't know what was going on, but his colon must have been wide, because that's you. The only thing they remember about your death is that they couldn't unclog the toilet after.
Man, I wish if I was thinking about if I was going to have to die on the toilet, I wish that would have been like 20 years ago. Now everybody would see it online. That sucks. Actually, maybe I don't want to die on the toilet.
His thing was small, but it was huge.
Hey, wait a minute.
I was in the pool. Oh, please. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of that show. It's called like 1,000 Ways to Die, and man, some of those are really
Oh,
stupid. Oh,
oh man. Yeah, there's some interest. That was an interesting show. I guess that's I like shows like that. There's a guy on YouTube that does one where
hmm.
uh, he like does these little shows about how somebody died. He did
Yeah.
one on like a kid who ate a whole bottle of the Flintstones gummies, vitamins.
Oh,
I don't know. It's a sick obsession. I mean, people like to watch murder shows, right? It's kind of I think that's where it comes from.
well, they wrong pipe. God dang it. Um, Ding dong. There you go. Gosh dang it. You drink one little drink and now you're just dying of that.
It's probably got vodka in there.
No, I don't drink vodka. I don't drink any alcohol. I've
Neither
seen.
do
I've had too many other people, or not too many, but a few other people who would drink, and the word moderation went out the window when they decided it. They couldn't remember it. Uh,
well,
but
I
yeah,
did all your drinking for you. Don't worry.
I don't support it, but you do you, right? I won't try to stop you. Drink a lemon. Do with. Oh, I think you're getting instructions here. Drink a lemon dough 8 with vodka. I've never heard of it. So,
Lemon drop, maybe a lemon drop with
oh, a
vodka.
lemon drop. Oh, lemon drop. Oh, okay. I think I've heard of that. Some people doing like they do like those little candy bits and they put it in a like there was I remembered there was a I can't remember what show it was, but they talked about doing stuff like that where they put like candy in a vodka and just let soak up the candy, just soak into it or whatever. I mean, if it masks the vodka, great, but I mean, you'll probably be more drunk than you ever been in your life.
It's bad news, man. I mean, I did the bar scene for a long time, and one of the bars that we were doing, that was the thing, right? Like, it was a gaming bar, so like
Mm,
everybody wants to drink the candy drinks and all that
mm,
stuff. We had Pokemon drinks and all that shit, and like, so one of them you'd have like Jolly Ranchers, another one you had Skittles and all that kind of stuff, and I don't know. When you're younger, that works. But
mm.
once you get to a certain point, it's guaranteed hangover, man. Guaranteed
Yeah.
hangover.
And no one wants to have to deal with a headache in the morning. Although they do say for as much alcohol you drink, you have to drink twice that in water. I believe is what the saying is.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I tested out all this all those theories plenty over the years, and I don't know. I felt like I mean,
No.
because I haven't drank in many years now, but like I think at a certain point I kind of like realized that it's almost like there's like a your body has like a number that it can
Mm,
handle. And
yeah.
over the years, I was just kind of like whittling away at it. And I think that was really it. Is like eventually, doesn't matter what you do. You could drink water. You could go get something to eat at Taco Bell.
Yeah. Taco Bell's Taco Bell's another story in its own right. When you want to clean out your colon, Taco Bell. Don't bother with the stool softener. Don't bother with that. Just go to Taco Bell. You'll be out in minutes. Um, honey, it's time. It's coming. It's time.
Yo quiero.
But yeah, no quiero, not taco. No, I don't know. Um, but yeah, it's just it can get dangerous, and people tend to forget their limits. I mean, if people didn't, then why are there things called AA meetings, right? Like, why do those exist? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I mean, some people just can't handle it, man. Some people are worse than others. I could handle it for pretty good. I mean, over the years, there was a number of things, but times things happen. But some people, I would
Yeah.
see drinking them, and they're just like a whole other person.
And don't get me wrong. I mean, I worked at a college, they have football season, right? And those people are just drinking all the way. But for me, it's just it. First off, it just smells like crap. It smells like horse piss, which is kind of funny. It's like, why would people be drinking horse piss? I guess it's flavorful to them. And second, it's just like, again, there were a few people that were in my life that would drink to the point of excess, and it's just like, you look like an idiot. Like, I get you want to have fun, but when you look like an idiot, you'll feel like it too in the morning, and it's just, you know, it, again, you wouldn't, if people could handle it, you wouldn't have something like AA, and that just shows that people can't. And you can do what you will. I ain't gonna stop you, but it also doesn't mean I have to lend a hand when it gets worse either, because you're an adult.
So have you ever had a drink before?
Uh, for my 21st birthday, I was offered, I think it was wine, because I was at an Italian restaurant with family and friends, but I denied it. I was just like, it's just not interesting to me. Again, majority of alcohol just smells like horse piss to me. So I was like, why would I drink something? That's coffee. I don't like the smell of coffee, and so I've never drank coffee either. Now, hot chocolate, I'm there, but coffee, no. And alcohol, whether it be wine or whether it be beer, whatever, all of it just smells like horse piss. And it's just a funny thing to me. It's like, whenever I think of that, it's like, why would people drink horse piss? That does not make sense to me. The first thing I smell is that, and I'm just like, you're in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, for me, it was never about the flavor. I never thought alcohol really tasted good, so I would drink the most obnoxious shit. And it was about a state of mind, man. That's really what I was trying to get into,
Yeah, I think I think that's it's like with smoking, right? There's a point where you just have to go to the point, and it once you get to the point, it's like you kind of have to see the item of addiction as a poison, because it's holding you back from actually bettering yourself, right? Like, I mean, it's the same with different types of food, right? Eating out all the time, or whatever people do. Like McDonald's is poison off the bat. McDonald's is just, I know people like it, but dear Lord, is any of the food real anymore from McDonald's? I mean,
it's probably like 40%. Actually, they had a McDonald's. So when I lived in Utah for a while too,
right.
And they had one of their meat factories like 30 minutes from where I was. And even back then in the 90s, it was there were people that worked there that would tell me, and friends that knew about what was going on there, said even back then it was 60% meat. So by now it's probably like 10%.
That's to say, and the thing is, like, their patties, right? For like McDonald's, their patties get thinner and thinner. It's like sooner or later it's gonna be like a piece of paper with a hamburger patty on.
Through that, it's going to be virtual. They're going to be like, plug in your headset now, pretend you're eating a Big Mac. Isn't that great?
I've never been to Utah, but I know it's had the Olympics there, so that's something. And it's also known for like the salt lakes there, because there are actual salt lakes in
Dude,
Utah.
it smells like shit. It smells like shit. So like,
really?
Oh man, it's so bad. So I lived in Clearfield. I lived in a number of cities there, and when the wind blows a certain way, it smells like. Have you ever been to like Yellowstone in Wyoming or anything like that?
Is it like that sulfur type smell?
Yep.
Wow, exactly. Really?
Yeah. It's horrible, man.
That's interesting. So we've all got horse pissing in our mouths, yes. Otherwise, I'm doing this right. Well, it's the way it smells to me. So I just find it funny. Any alcohol, really. Look up Zion NP. Is it? NP is what?
National Park. Zion.
National
Zion. Yeah, I drove through there when I was a teenager. I killed a bunch of butterflies.
Why would you do that?
On purpose. We were driving down the highway and there was a migration. So like we're off the interstate, and there was like thousands of butterflies. It looked like a scene from The Crow with the Hitchcock movie.
Oh yeah.
Thousands of butterflies, and they were like going all over the windshield. I didn't do it on purpose. I'm not an evil person. Um,
angry, angry horse sounds. That's right. You make your angry horse sounds. Here's a carrot. No, I've never been out that far. I think the farthest I've ever been is Florida, because I'm from Indiana, as far as I'll go, and we were going to Florida because of Walt Disney World, right? Like Orlando, all that stuff. And so the first time we went down when we were young, me and my family, we would my parents had this like blue Ford van, and we would just drive. It's like a 24-hour drive, or more or less. Well, it was awesome. Just not bad. But it was like it's sort of like a day and a half days drive, to Walt Disney World, and we went through like Tennessee, Nashville, all these states, or Tennessee, Kentucky. Sorry, Nashville's a capital. Tennessee, Kentucky. I think like what was it? Maybe Virginia. I don't know. But we hit Georgia, and that's usually like the last long drive through. Um, but it was nice to stop at places, going down that way. But yeah, it was such a. I remember as a kid, it was so long. It was insane. Because I think I think my parents were taking turns driving all the way down, and maybe stopped at least once or twice. But there was like, we got to get down there.
were you guys going down there for MTV Spring Break or something?
With kids, come on, seriously, woo, woo, surf the kid, surf the kid. No, that wouldn't work. No, we just go to Walt Disney World. That's what families did. That was before Disney became the idiocy that it is, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, we went down there, and stayed maybe a few days or something like that. Whatever we could, and yeah, it was pretty nice. Florida's not. Florida's more heat and humidity at times, unless you like live near the water, the beachfront or whatever. But I mean, Florida has its own issues, so I'm not gonna go down that. I've heard stories where it's easier to get cocaine down there than it is anything else. But anyway, you didn't hear that from me. But I don't do that.
That's an accurate statement.
I mean, it's like, oh, great, yeah, great for DeSantis. Oh, there's crack around the corner. What crack? What? Oh man, but no, I don't know. So you said live in Oregon. So if you could go to any of the states, what state would you rather live in? Because I know it's always
Alabama.
Alabama. Really? Why is Alabama though?
I used to live down there for many
Oh,
years.
so been to Utah, Wyoming, Alabama. Where haven't you been?
I've lived kind of all over the place, man, over the years. I haven't been over in the Northeast, but Virginia. I lived like 15 minutes out of DC for a while. That was a horrible city, even back in the late 90s.
Jeez, I can't imagine.
Yeah, I lived in Alabama for many years, Utah, Wyoming, Oregon, Arizona. I've kind of been all over the place, man.
That's interesting. Now, what over the places you've lived in, right? The homes, the states you lived in. What does Alabama offer all of over them, right?
It's interesting because when I was younger, I was kind of like, this place is like 200 years behind the rest of the United States, and I used to think it sucked. And now that I've been out of Alabama for many years now, I still have a lot of friends there, and my dad lives there and stuff. Like, I've quickly realized that they are the ones who actually kind of held out and resisted a lot of the horrible changes. So, yeah, I'm just like, I actually want to move back down there.
And yeah, that's pretty awesome. I mean, I've only lived in Indiana. So I mean, my parents almost own a spot up in Michigan, but I've never really lived far anywhere else. I mean, it gets hot here where I'm at. I don't know if it gets hot over where you are because you're more of this um, like Washington and stuff. It's more the wet, rainy type of area.
Mhm.
So I don't know if it gets hot over there, but it is interesting to see how different people in different cities, different states, all this stuff, how their culture is, right? Because there's a generalness over the United States, and then there's like cities, states. They're very different cultures within, and it's a very interesting thing how widespread that could be. There could be some instances of like same, like surrounding area of New Orleans or whatever, the Cajun style, all that stuff. But when you get to outer of all that stuff, it's very interesting how that goes, and that's why I like. Again, like I said earlier, like I like being able to do this because you you get to see a different perspective or a similar perspective from the other person, right? Like I'm not going to ask your thoughts on like the whole of the universe or if you believe of aliens or whatever, but it's more of just like you've lived life for quite some time. You've moved around quite a bit when you were young, and you've seen these different spaces and these different places. But however, that sort of thing doesn't get reached out to much, or at least from my perspective. Again, there could be people out there doing this stuff, telling their whole life story, all this stuff, and I might not even know. But for me, it's just like I feel the time of outreach and connection is more important than ever than just this whole team dividing factor because it's tribalism at its basic form, and there's no difference under the sun for that. I mean, it's just I don't care politics, religious factor. It doesn't matter. There's all forms of tribalism, and it's just what you choose on that regard. You can choose any genre, any item, anything on the list, and there'll be a form of tribalism. There'll be a form of a group or a circle or whatever. And I don't really care about that as much. I mean, like, family, sure, that's something different, but I am not interested in the clicks of the universe because I'm here to tell you right now those things won't matter once you're either 6 feet under or dust in the wind. I'm sorry to tell you that. Right? I get there are people who not I'm not directing at you,
No,
just
you're
saying in general. Uh,
right.
I don't want you to feel like I'm coming after you. I'm coming after you, Synth. This is what it is. I'm gonna bend you over the knee and just. Um, but it does feel like again it does feel like people get in their positions of this is my team sort of thing. And I understand the need for community, right? Because if you're just a lost straggler, you're going to feel alone for quite some time. And without a form of community, you won't feel, reliance when things get tough, right? Like people there, I don't know how many times um, I've heard of like the Civil War and all that stuff. I'm like, look, if you get a Civil War, majority of the United States is not going to be around. You know what the count numbers like that 300 something million or whatever, that's going to go over probably a year or two. You're probably going to see less and less people because it's going to get like The Road. Oh, I think that's what's the name of the movie, Viggo Mortensen or whatever it is. Uh,
Yeah, I think people, the people, the
the people.
controllers,
Mm.
I think they would want that, but I don't think that that's the war that's right now. I think there is a civil war, but it's a war for our minds. I think that it's a different war.
But that's the war for the mind has always been the case. Marketing for ads, uh, media, that's been around for ages. That's not been a thing that's not been there. The war for the mind has been a true constant. It's just more. It feels like it's more frequent. Like the frequency was raised from a 5 to an 11, and you're like, ooh, whoa, whoa, what's going on here? Um, however, I do think that kind of befuddles things because when you get into a heightened state of awareness, you can kind of get into a what is it, tunnel vision sort of thing, right? Where you only focus on certain things, but you're not aware of your wide area. And again, going back to the anger factor, right, where you get that tunnel vision and you just focus on a small faction where it's just a bit bigger. And yeah, I'll say this: not everyone can see the big picture, because we do tend to get lost. We do tend to get lost in our lives, and we kind of search for the meaning factor, right? Like you with your music, and other people with whatever little thing they choose. Uh, but yeah, just a perspective. Obviously, I'm not a guru here. Don't
Yeah.
ask
I
don't
mean,
ask me for life advice. It's not going to work
yeah,
out.
when I say like war for the mind, I think there's a lot more to it actually as well. But like in reality, like it's as simple as this: if they tell you that if there's people out there saying that they think there's going to be a civil war, just turn around and look exactly the opposite direction, because that's probably what's more likely to happen.
Yeah, possibly. I I just don't. I okay. So there's a part of me that gets why they say for that, because right, they see the signs, whatever, or perceive signs, and there's a part of like, but why would you, in a way, advocate for it? Maybe not saying advocate for it, but you keep saying this is the moment, this is the time. Here comes the civil war, all this stuff, and I'm like, follow. Yeah, that's true. Follow the money, but it's more of just like it's that fear. I don't want to say as, because it's kind of redundant, but it's sort of that fear factor, right? Not the fear factor, but it's that fear factor where if you're always in a fog of fear, then you won't see things clearly, or you won't take a step back and breathe a little. And I think people kind of need a break of just to breathe a little, but you can't fully, because there's just a lot of com- confounded parts. Uh, so after the C19, right, we saw what happened with our what is it? Our supply line, our distribution line, right? It got messed up. It got bundled up, and I think that's in part that can also relate to the people as well, is that we can get confounded, we can get bungled up, and we don't. Again, we get that fog in our face. We don't, whatever. Um, and so that's that part of that is why I do this, because I find it fascinating that we have these technologies that allow us to connect in such a way. I mean, again, any tool that humans create is a double-edged sword. There's a good to it, there's a bad to it, but it's not the tool itself, it is the person. It's the same argument that you hear from the gun section, right? Like, guns are bad, guns are awful. It's like, no, 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 the person is the gun. You could bury a gun in a forest, right? And it won't do anything. It may rust, it may not work anymore, but it won't dig itself up, and it won't go around hurting people. It will just be. It's us. Tools are a different story. It's us that are the issue at that mark. And I think that's kind of where people get lost on. What does he say? He says, I know this chick that is terrified of the dark. Her house looks like Christmas year round. There are people that are like that. There are people who are afraid of the dark. I was a kid who was afraid of the dark too, because you have nightmares and stuff. But as I've gotten older, it's like, I can get to sleep.
I'm afraid of myself, man.
What?
I'm afraid of myself.
Yeah, the lights are out and you're gone to bed and you're just like, yeah, good night to you too. Oh, who said that? Stop talking to me like that. That'd be scary though. You have another version of yourself right there. It's like, yeah, you better get some sleep. Nighty
Yeah.
night. Nighty night, Timmy.
I could be my worst enemy sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone can. That's the irony of it all, is you can be your best friend and your worst enemy, because you know yourself as well as you do. Um, and it's, I mean, you can't say that for another person. Like, you can know someone as well, but they'll never be as well known as what you can know for yourself, which I know is a confusing thing to say, but that's the truth of it, right? That's the truth of our human relationships and whatnot. No, I'm not an alien, but that's just the best way to describe it. But regardless,
Are you reptilian? Is that what you are?
well, my skin does dry out, but I think that's just because it's still wash my hands too much. But regardless, I do like having this ability. I do like using the technology for what it's worth, and all that stuff, and then making these connections because it. I firmly believe that on the scale of making connections and getting past all this BS point, whether you, I don't care, all political identities are BS. Doesn't matter. They're man made. They don't matter. They're just tags for the tribe. The point of the matter is can you make a connection across the way? Doesn't matter if you agree with the person or not. Can you at least walk away on a disagreeing level and still come back? And I think it's possible. I'm close to 100 different people, and I'm showing it can be happening. So some people now, I will say some people haven't come back, and I've asked, but that's an up to them factor. I can't control that, but I can show that you can have people on, disagree with them, and still come back for another conversation in the day, which which is the point of their chat. And honestly, I do thank you for taking up the opportunity to come on here because it's been awesome. Since yes, I know you look fancy in your tie.
Thank you.
You look like you. I mean, a bow tie probably would have worked better next time, but we'll just leave that alone.
Would you have me on again, Daramouthe?
You're always welcome back. You always. I say that to every one of my guests. Is they're always welcome back because it doesn't end with this. There's always more to talk about. The human history is so long. The universe is so big, and it doesn't have to end with one chat. It's amazing. It's amazing. I've had a gentleman on. His name is Jack Tarlat. 8 times.
Oh wow.
8 times. I've had some people on 3 to 4 times. Phoenix, who's been in the chat, has been on maybe 4 or 5 times. I think I don't know. Phoenix, you'll have to correct me. I think it's been 4 or 5 times, but I'm sure she'll correct me. The point of the matter is though is that building these connections, right? I mean, yes, they are relationships, but we all know about the online relationships, how messy they can get. There's a good way of having a healthy connection, but also defining a line, right? Doing this has allowed me to make those connections and to keep the ball rolling and to have them come back and continue that ball and all these other balls and whatever. I'm a sucker for punishment. No,
Like
two
ball.
dual and one quad spot. Yeah, that's three. Okay, three. What's what?
You got a great group of people in here, man. Yeah, I've been enjoying the chat. I've been enjoying hanging out with you. I you know, like I'll come back, but if it isn't directly reaching out, maybe try reach around. Okay.
Slow clap. Wow, you made a joke. Good for you. It's almost like that 5-year-old who gives you that drawing that looks very crappy, but you're like, oh, aren't you great? You put it in the refrigerator and you're just like, I gotta look at this every single time. But it's for their benefit, right? Like you're building self-confidence. You kind of want them, I want you to be able to come back because this has been fun. It's been awesome. Even if we haven't really talked too much about your musical aptitude, but it's there. But you were also well dressed too, so I kind of have to give you credit for that. He gets a silver star. Everyone, he gets a silver star.
Do I get one of those scratch and sniff Snickers? It's like smells like
No, but
watermelon.
that would be nice, wouldn't it? Like you have one that smells like bacon. Like, oh yes, oh yeah, Daddy likes. Anyway,
Bring on the gimp.
and Gimp is an old guy. I don't know, but thank you, Astro, and I look forward to ours tomorrow. I'll get to that point. So again, it's the hour, another hour mark. Is the top of the hour, and of course we're most likely going to end it here because I know you've got something after, so I don't want to
That's
keep
right.
you.
I'm gonna go play Worms with the boys.
Nice, blow them up high. But I do thank you for coming on, and of course, the floor is yours to promote yourself, sir. Go for it.
Yeah. So you guys check me out, SynthTrax on Rumble. Or if you search DJ Jesus, you can find me as well. If you guys ever want to come out on a Friday night, I do it my live stream on Fridays at 5:30 PST, 8:30 PM EST. We got some really cool, awesome people in chat. If you want to just come hang out and have a good time, come check me out, man.
Not a problem, Cyber Mario. And like I said, and of course for my end, right? And like I said before last time, guys, whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on Rumble, it doesn't matter. If you wouldn't mind leaving a like, sharing, following, leaving a comment, all that stuff, the engagement factor helps me being seen more, which helps bring more people on. 1 second. Hate when it happens trying to speak and you have to burp. But anyway, the engagement factor helps in being seen more, and it also helps me and being able to ask people, right? Because there are people who do look at your numbers and say, I don't think that person's worth my time. I haven't had that yet, but I do know it's out there, right? There are shallow people who are about the numbers and all that stuff. And don't get me wrong, I get people celebrate milestones. That's great. That's grand. I had to be told that I was around 400 followers on Rumble. I hadn't checked in ages. I think last time I checked, it was around 200 or something, right? And it's same for my YouTube, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, um, the engagement factor helps. And if you would like to be on, right? If you would like to have the opportunity, whether it's now or whether you're watching in the future, right? In the future, there's a link tree there's my link tree down below. I have a Twitter X, I have Discord, I have an email. Get at me, anyone. Usually I do more on Twitter X. That's how I communicate, like with SynthTrax, like with Phoenix Electra, like with so many others. It's just pretty easy. But I do Discord as well, or my email. Either way, any form of communication. And if you don't want to do that, right? If you don't want to do any of the Linktree stuff, just go leave a comment and say, hey, I'd like to come on. Now, if you're a spam bot, I don't care about you. But if you're an actual person, we can get started and go from there. And again, anything help with the engagement on either end, guys, I thank you so much. And of course, SynthTrax, I thank you for looking so dashing and being so awesome. I know it probably took more of the conversation away, but we had fun. I hope you had fun. You're always welcome to come back, of course. And that's right. So before you go, there is a thing I do with my people, or my guests, not people, whatever, guests at the end of the show, and I do a thing called questions from the hat. Now, what happens is that the guest gets 2 freebies, but in order for more to come out of the hat, like if someone in chat wants another question asked, they got to give a grant for it. Now, I'm not monetized in YouTube, so there's no super chat working in that. But if you're on Rumble, if you give a rant, you can get another question on the hat. So we did get one from Mariachi, so that's going to count. So that's 3 questions. So I hope you're ready for it. You may pass out or you may faint. I don't know which comes first, but we'll see. Not looking at the hat. Just it's like digging a hole. All right, here we go. Here's the first one. All right, here's the first one. Let's see what it says. Clearing my throat. What's a childhood memory that still makes you smile?
Ooh. Wow. I mean, still makes me smile. Wow. I think when I went to wow, there's so many things. Tough to track down. Maybe like
You don't got one?
I mean, I'm sure it'll come to me. Do you got more questions? And then I can just
we'll put that one in par. Hold on. All right, question number 2. We'll keep that in the back burner. Okay. Okay. Oh, please let's do the same one. All right, it is yellow, but I'm making sure. Oh, here we go. What's the strangest talent you have that's completely useless?
The strangest time that was completely useless.
No, what's the maybe, what's the strangest talent you have that's completely useless?
Useless, man. Man, useless. I can.
Or maybe not useless, but just sort of like a throwaway. It's just a talent that you don't, you enjoy having it, but there's not much use out of it. Something like that effect.
I mean, I'm a pretty good artist, but it's useless because I don't do it anymore.
You're what?
I'm a pretty good artist, but I don't do it anymore. I used to draw comics and stuff like that.
Really?
Yeah, so I think that's probably sad, but yeah.
I mean, you know how to draw, so that's something. Usually people like to doodle, right? They just like to doodle, pull out a piece of paper and go wherever their mind goes. But no, that's pretty interesting. Now, what was your comic called?
Oh, I did a bunch. I did this series that I did called Nonsense, and it was about this character, and every episode was just absolutely insane stuff that would happen.
So it is a bunch of nonsense, is what you're saying.
Exactly. I mean, but I drew a lot of stuff over the years, like yeah, like kind of like a mix between comic books and Japanese anime style.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I know. I know there's an insurgence of independent comic book makers, Marvel, DC sort of thing, and all that crap. But I do think that they'll have, if they haven't built a name yet, they're going to have a tough time competing against manga. Which, if you go to any Barnes and Nobles, there's a whole section dedicated to it, and you may have a few shelves of Marvel and DC. So, yeah, I can see that. So it's good. All right. I'm closing my eyes, even though I have my sunglasses on. Closing my eyes, just getting a good feel. Just getting a good feel in my hat. I feel like you still have to answer the first one though.
Yeah, so like I remember I got to go to this crazy laser tag place.
Ooh.
I love laser tag. Whenever I think about it, it just makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
I had 3 floors, and it had like this, like it was made all out of wood, and you could go run around it. It had like a maze inside of it.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I think about that, I'm just like, man, I love that. That makes me, I would want to go do that again.
Laser, yeah, I've never laser tagged, but I do know it's a lot of fun. Certainly, it can get a bit brutish if you're not careful, but I mean, you can have fun with that.
I love laser tag, dude.
Yeah, just don't laser someone's eye because that's a real danger. Get out of my face! Get out of my face! I win, sucker!
Yeah. Just run up to some kid in the laser tag and just be like, get out of my way.
All right. Last one. Unless someone wants to give a rant. Last one. What does it say? Ooh, what's it say? What sound / noise do you love to hear?
Man, I mean, it should be obvious. Like synthesizer sounds, hands down, dude. Or maybe that, like the core of that is piano.
Really?
I love piano, dude. I love it.
Do you is it more of like the synthetic piano or an actual like
I love
piano?
real piano too. I love all that. Like so I think synthesizers is the same thing. It's just like the electronic version, right? Like
Yeah.
you can do a lot with it. But
Yeah.
I mean, any of those kind of sounds, man. Oh, dude.
One of my it was the pre-piano, but it was the harpsichord. That's good. I like that because it has that sort of high ding sound, and it's just it's a very weird sound, but it's a very, I don't know, it's the pre-piano stuff. But yeah, I enjoy that. Baby piano is another one. The little piano's like ding 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 ding. Oh, that's another one too.
You know what I'm gonna do?
Mm.
Since I brought up the fact that I can draw, I don't really tell people that anymore. It's been a long time since I drew anything. After the show, I'm gonna get on Twitter and I'm gonna post a picture of one of my drawings.
Why not? That sounds awesome.
Yeah, I know Mario likes to draw. I'm gonna show him one of my pictures.
Well, if you do post it though, you have to say, Mario, now you have to draw this, but you have to draw it funnier. And you just challenge it to it's like, you wanted to play with the big dog, you're gonna have to start drawing like you mean it. So let's get to it. Finger. Look, it's already too late at the night, Phoenix. I don't have enough energy for that. So you're on your own. I, I try to play with that part pretty well, but I only like the key of E. Anyway, I'm not gonna go any further than that. I'm not gonna a pluck versus a hammer. Oh, I should have pulled up that one first. A pluck versus a hammer on the strings. Young lady, it better be about a piano you're talking about, not something else, because you have a husband and you need to stop. But some of you people are too dirty minded. It's only 6:15. Well, it's not 6:15 where I am, young lady. Don't try to pull that on me. It's not 6:15 where I am. 16:15 where you are, but that's your issue. Oh, look, there you go. Cyber Mario. Right there. So go ahead and tag him.
Hell yeah.
All right, guys. So like I said earlier, if Astral is still in the chat, Astral Doge Plays will be on tomorrow at 7 p.m. So don't forget to come for that, and I'll put that in the chat as well. I'll make sure that the links for that are up tonight because I usually try to do that. It is Piano Hammer Hard Squared Plugs. I'm not the one being Jared, just little. Oh, yeah, okay. It is Pastor. You know what? Quiet there, Grandma. All right, quiet up. Sever me.
You got you good, man.
She's mean like that. Yes, but Astral is tomorrow at 7 p.m. Of course, I'm looking forward to that tomorrow. So I hope you guys will be there for that. And again, thank you all so much for being here. And again, don't forget to leave help with all the engagement stuff, like, comment, all that stuff. I appreciate it, and I appreciate, of course, you coming on, Phoenix. I appreciate you coming on, Synth. You know what? Phoenix, you need to go to bed. You need to go to bed. But I thank you, Synth, for coming on. And again, like I said, you're always welcome back. This is not a one-time deal. That is me, mean, scary, and horrible. Yeah, you are. You're a big meanie sometimes. He's like to throw stuff back in my face, and I've never done anything like that to you before. All I am is nice to you, and you want to shove it in my face like sand in my mouth, like you always do. But yes, you're always welcome back. And I also do a thing once a month. It's called Dara's Hangout Den. And so what that is that I invite previous guests from when they've been on Darachat. And so usually it's me and 3 other people. Last Saturday, I had on Putinbot, Phoenix Electra, and Kaiju. All that is just people who've been on before, because again, it's about cross-pollinating with other people, getting to talk. It's just Darachat, but with other guests who've been on, and it's a great time. So that door will be open too because you've been on now. So that's fun. Yeah, and Kaiju, yep, she corrected me again. Either she's being like a big sister, or she's being like that mom that no one appreciates very much. But anyway. Anyway, guys, I hope to see. I'm good. I know I'm going to get a DM later saying, you know what? I could just not come on anymore. That's the first time I've ever heard you say come. But anyway, anyway, thank you all for being here. I will see you next time. And of course, like always, one day with you. Bye, Pogo. Have a great night, everyone, and see you tomorrow at 7 o'clock. Have fun, everyone. Bye.